Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, you're welcome. We're so pleased to have you. I You run a website called Happy Mama, and yeah, if you just want to touch on what you do and who you are, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess my journey to Happy Mama started 8 years ago when I had my first daughter. I was a journalist at the ABC and was very success driven, all about my career. Thought that becoming a parent would be another thing that I read the book, turned up, and if I tried hard enough, I'd be able to get right. And as we know, the mamas that are watching this, that's not how parenting works. I had a little girl who was very unhappy. When she was born, with what they call congenital torticollis. So her neck was basically right down to her shoulder. She couldn't turn her neck because she'd been squashed inside of me. So, but that wasn't diagnosed for her first few days. So we just kept trying to turn her head to feed her, and she would scream and scream and scream because none of the muscles had been developed. So she, by day 3 of her life, had developed severe breast rejection. So you can imagine how that felt for a brand new mum to be told that basically your child is rejecting you. And from there, the amazing high that I felt around becoming a mum just started to slowly unravel. And I spent the next 4 months basically going from one expert to the next about why can't my baby feed? Why can't my baby sleep? Why am I feeling so terrible? Why am I feeling so awful? And I just kept looking for all of the answers outside of myself. I kept looking for all of the experts. I literally checked myself into the day hospital every day for a week to try and figure it all out. And of course, she healed and she became a happy, thriving baby after a couple of months. But inside of me, I'd really been shaken and had lost my confidence in myself, and really had this underlying feeling of, I don't know whether I like being a mum. I don't know whether I am really happy I did this. What happened to my career? Who am I now? All of these questions that I felt really bad about asking myself. And when I looked around to try and find the answers as a journalist, someone has to be talking about this. No one really was. People were talking about it in the sense of, it was 8 years ago, so it was really the start of the rise of the mummy blogs, and a lot of it was, this sucks, where's the wine? It was that real funny discussion around how hard motherhood was, but there was no real talk of this sense of self, of who we are once we become mums, how we change our lives completely. And while we love that, there's also a part of us that's missing, or a part of us that's put on hold for the whole time that we're raising these little children. So over the years, I started a blog and I started writing about it, and it kind of evolved from there until 2 years ago, when my little boy, I have 3 children, I was pregnant with my little boy, and I went into early labour at 28 weeks with him, basically because I was trying to be superwoman. I was producing breakfast radio and running around with 2 children and doing all the things that I thought I should be doing. I was a wellness blogger, for goodness sakes. So, I was ticking the things off the list. I was going to the yoga class, and I was getting up and having the smoothies, and I was doing all of the things that I thought I should do. But I was doing it and pushing myself to the limits to be this superwoman. So the whole journey had started out, who am I? And then I'd gone on such this rampage of figuring out who I was, that it still was coming from this place of not really accepting who I was or my life. And then when I went into early labour with my little boy, I knew that I really had to change the way that I was living, and I had to start being okay with a different pace of my life and really start looking after myself. And that's when I really started to embrace meditation and my mindfulness, and really starting to get in touch with all of that, my mindset and everything. And so that's where I am. That's how I got to this place.
That's
It's been quite a
amazing.
journey.
Wow, yeah. It is really amazing how motherhood, it does shift that, it does change, and your life does take a different path, doesn't it? And I'm so glad that you are here to talk about mindset and self-care, because I think as a mum, it's so easy to come last all the time. And, you know, I read a quote the other day that actually made me quite sad, and it said, by always coming second, you're teaching everyone that you are second. And, you know, I thought, yeah, wow, I never thought of it like that, because we are still a human being. Yeah, so I've got some questions here, if I look down. Now, throughout our course, we're at the end of the course now, and lots of people are implementing changes, and they're seeing different, you know, they're seeing lots of positive changes with their children and their families, but it is quite a shift in what people have been used to. So I guess, you know, there's still a few people out there that are feeling a bit overwhelmed, and if, you know, they have, I don't know, some McDonald's or whatever, there's a guilt around it. So how do you switch that mindset of, no, I am doing it okay, it's okay?
You know what? We have to realise that our thoughts are like any muscle, and really we have to keep training it every day on an ongoing basis. I often say it's like you walk into a gym with a personal trainer, you realise that you're really unfit. So you work really hard for 3 months with the personal trainer every day, and then at the end of 3 months you actually feel really good. Your body's feeling better and your health is better, and you don't then say to the personal trainer, great, thanks, see you later. You then have to keep showing up every day, otherwise it kind of undoes the work. It's the same with mindfulness and the way we think. So yes, we all are going to have days where we're hard on ourselves and we feel like we're not doing what we need to be doing, or we beat ourselves up for making a mistake. What we need to be aware of is that our thoughts will keep going down the path of that negativity unless we keep training it, unless we keep picking up those thoughts and changing it. So it's all about mindfulness. You know, the most important thing in the world, I would say, is the way that we speak to ourselves in our heads, the way we tell ourselves about our lives. It's called the story we tell ourselves. So, and we all have stories from the minute we open our eyes. In fact, probably before we even open our eyes in the morning, we're telling ourselves a story about ourselves. So we're saying, gee, I'm tired, I can't do this today, I can't believe the baby didn't sleep last night. Oh, what, he's not even going to wake up when the baby wakes up? What, is it always me that has to get up? And why do I always have to get up? And why do I, you know, and that's it, it starts.
Yeah.
It just goes all day until we finally crash at the end of the night. There is no space for us to tune into what we're telling ourselves. So I would say to your beautiful women that are doing the course, as part of the ongoing changes that you're going to be making once you're finishing this course now, is that it would be amazing to tune into what you're telling yourself around these changes as much as possible. So are you congratulating yourself for every little thing that you're doing? You know, as women, we don't say, wow, can't believe you did another smoothie this morning, aren't you great? Or, you know, we don't actually congratulate ourselves, pause and celebrate the little wins. It's so important, especially in motherhood, that we acknowledge what we're doing every day. The fact that you've even done a course like this puts you so far ahead of the majority of the population. I say this to the women that do my course. There are so many women in this world who are unhappy, unhealthy, and want to change it but do nothing about it. And you are different. So let's start with celebrating that. You are different, and even if you don't get it right today, you're still different in the way that you're trying to change it, and you're doing the best that you can. So it really starts with kindness towards yourself. Tune into the story you're telling yourself. Give yourself a bit of a pat on the back and be your best friend. I know that's so overused, that term, but it is about being kind to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, you've given me goosebumps because you're so right. Oh, that's so lovely. That's what we did a blog post, and you know, that's what we said is just focus on the wins, because they are important. Not about you know what, I don't even like that word. There's no such word as failure, but, you know, focus on, just focus on the win. So that is beautiful.
Yes, and don't beat yourself up about beating yourself up. I think that often when we start becoming aware of our thoughts and realize how hard we are on ourselves, the women that do my course often in the first couple of weeks say, oh my God, I can't believe how hard I am on myself. I can't believe how awful I am about myself, and beat myself up all the time. And then they beat themselves up about beating themselves up. It's quite a... Don't be overwhelmed when you first start listening to the story you're telling yourself, especially around what you feed your family or how you are a mother. It can be harsh. Know that that is just, I call it your inner mean mama. It's just that mean voice in your head, like a bully that we all have, and don't give any power to that voice by feeling bad about it. Just say, oh yeah, I know that voice. I don't believe it anymore. I don't think like that anymore, and try and think about something more positive.
Why do you think we do that to ourselves as mothers and as women? You know, why do you think we put so much pressure on ourselves? Like our husband, well, I know my husband, he seems to go to work and come home and have one box open at a time in his brain, and our brains are wired like, you know,
we are wired like that. We are. I do think it's the way we're built as well as obviously all the pressure we put on ourselves. You know, think about the role models we had when we were little. We were taught that multitasking is next to godliness. We were taught that we can have it all, that we can be amazing career women, super women at home, super lovers in bed, supermodels in our, you know, the way we look. The expectations we have been taught to put on ourselves is overwhelming. You know, women's rights have done amazing things for us, but they've also made us feel like we need to be all and do all to everybody at all times. And we really have to unlearn that. Happiness doesn't come from doing all of that, as we all know. Happiness comes from actually being in the moment and being happy with right now. I heard this great story the other day about men and women, which I really loved, which is a man will go into a retail shop, try on a pair of jeans that don't fit, and he'll call out to the attendant and say, excuse me, there's something wrong with these jeans. A woman will walk into a shop, try on a pair of jeans she usually fits. They don't fit her, and she'll say, oh my God, I'm so fat. It's so true, isn't it? Men will go, there's something wrong with these jeans. And we'll say, I'm such a bad person. Like it's just the way we're programmed. But when we see it and acknowledge it and understand that, then we can start working with that.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so with the changes that we're all making in the course, you do have negative Nancy going, and it could be a friend or a family member or someone saying, oh, what a crock, or one packet of Smarties won't hurt. And you need to then, you know, we need to then go, no, I'm choosing not to feed my family that at the moment, or, you know, or that ever, whatever. How do you change that mindset of, no, I'm doing a good job and I am the one taking control?
Yeah. Well, I think you said it exactly what the answer is there, which is be aware once again of your mindset around it. Make sure that you're supporting yourself. I'd also say that the most successful changes in our life come from when we're supported. So if you're not getting the support from the people around you, find the support elsewhere, like from the other women in the course that you're doing this with. Acknowledge that this is a big change and that other people's judgments are just that, other people's judgments. When you've got a strong sense of self, which comes from that inner knowing that what you're doing is important for your family, then other people's opinions bounce off of you like water off a duck's back. We often talk about like putting a bubble around you, like imagining a bubble that starts from the inner sort of heart center area and comes out. And I'm obviously very much about meditation and mindfulness as much as possible. So when you're walking into a situation, just say a school mums group or something, and you know that they're all going to have their chips and their Smarties and their negativity around, oh, wow, what are you doing? Before you walk in, try and just breathe into your chest area. Like you and I are both sitting up straighter now. I love that.
Yeah, I know. I see it automatically.
Breathe in. This is, without getting too sort of complicated, this is where your sense of power comes from, your sense of self, your boundaries, your protection. So if you can walk in and just breathe in, and that kind of puts out this force field around you, like all the mums that are watching that their kids have seen The Incredibles. I always think of Violet with that bubble around her. It's that force field kind of thing. That is not just a woo-woo way of thinking of things. That is actually how our energy works. It comes from here. This is our power. So if you are standing there and talking to someone that's making you feel really bad, you can even actually just put your hand here, when you're talking, and just sort of hold your hand there and focus on your hand. And what that does is protect you. It actually stops that energy from coming into you. It's that gut feeling. That's where it comes from. That's where our intuition and our protection is. So if you're feeling bombarded by someone and negative and like their energy is toxic, protect yourself. Put your hand there and say to yourself, I don't need to take your energy in. I'm okay. I believe what I'm doing is right. And it's just this inner power that you can get.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, it's really great because it's something you can do subtly that you get, instead of just going, I don't know what to, because it's an attack. You can really feel like you're under attack. Put your hand on, protect yourself. Focus on your hand, build that energy up. I don't need to listen to this. I know what I'm doing is right. And you can do it nicely. You don't have to be a bitch about it. You can just protect yourself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think, let's talk about mother guilt. Oh, so I did want to talk about putting yourself first as well.
Yeah.
Now, I know that's not always possible. Jake's up at 5:10. I'd love to be sleeping in bed, but he does come first, Not that kind of first. I'm meaning that I love myself too, and I'm important too kind of first. And I know this is I guess another, you build a whole course on it, so it's really hard to talk about in just a few minutes. But, how do you do that? Like, what's some tips on allowing yourself to be okay about that?
Yeah. Once again, you've said it exactly. The first thing is to allow yourself to be okay with it. I think we have a very sometimes subconscious inbuilt belief that doing something for ourselves is selfish. Even though we might say, oh no, I don't believe that, somewhere inside we do. We feel like we need to put our children or our families or our partner first, and we don't. In fact, we've all heard the saying about fill your cup up first. I like to say you actually don't need to just fill it up. It needs to be so full it overflows, and it's the overflow that goes to everybody else. It's that oxygen mask on a plane analogy. We have to put our oxygen mask on first before we put it on our children. We have to look after ourselves. We all know that in theory, but how that shows up every day is really, really hard, really hard. Especially when you do things like school holidays or someone gets sick, it's great to be able to do it when everyone's off at kindy and daycare and it's all, working out really well. But then in the tough times is when you need it the most. Start really, 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 really small. Don't think that you're going to get an hour on a yoga mat or go to the gym 3 times a week or do these big, amazing things. It is unrealistic and means you will never start and stick with it. Start with 3 minutes in the morning. 3 minutes is truly the first way you can change your life. If you have a shower, lock the door if you have to. If you're like me, I have little kids knocking on the door and talking to me through. My little boy stands at the shower and goes, Mummy, Mummy, Mummy. Say to your partner, I just need 3 minutes. Can you just put on ABC Kids? I don't care what it is. Lock the door. I literally, over the summer holidays when we were traveling, the only way I could connect with myself every day was to do this, which was literally sit on the bathroom floor on my towel and just sit there and focus on my breath for 3 minutes. You can even set the timer on your phone, because 3 minutes is actually a really long time when you're just focusing on your breath, because we don't do it as busy mums. Find a way every day just to get that little space. When you get out of the shower, dry yourself mindfully. Look at your body and say, wow, you're so amazing to keep going today. I know how tired you are. Get a really nice moisturiser and rub it into your legs after you shower. Focus on your breath. Sit on the floor for a few minutes. Breathe, breathe. Just focus on your breath and clearing away that stuck energy and say, I'm doing a great job. I'm doing a great job. And just start with that. That's all it is. And then the rest of the day, I promise you, will flow differently.
I'll be doing that too. Thank you.
Good.
I would love for you to talk about your course.
Oh, thank you. It's called Reconnect, the Reconnect program, and it's 40 days, which is nearly 6 weeks. 40 days being a very strong part of Kundalini yoga, and a lot of yoga practices is that if you do something for 40 days, it really changes the neural pathways and the energy blocks in your system. So we do, it's every day for 40 days, not every day from me. You get emails every couple of days, but every day for 40 days, we try and do a 3-minute meditation. So you actually get a 3-minute meditation from me to listen to, and we build up to 3 times a day. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but to be totally honest, most mums struggle even by the end of the 40 days to do this, which is 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes sometimes during the day, and 3 minutes at night. The idea being that it is teaching us and training us to stop, connect to our thoughts, tune into our bodies, how we're really feeling, and really start that practice, like I said to you at the beginning about like going to the gym and seeing the personal trainer, just starting to create those little exercises to help be calm in the moment. And then through the rest of the course, we really focus on the areas I feel in my work with interviewing self-care experts from around the world and everything that I've done, which are the areas that I think we all need to be a happy mama, which really, it starts with kindness. It starts with tuning into how we talk to ourselves. It's about building up trust in ourselves again if we feel like we've let ourselves or our family down. It's about finding our real strength. Strength is not about willpower, and I know that a lot of your women would know that by now. They feel like if they do have KFC today, then, oh, well, I'm just weak. It's actually not. Strength is about the fact that you've signed up for this course. Real strength is saying, okay, I didn't do great today, but I know how I'm going to change it. That's the real strength. So we really look at changing the way you feel about yourself, discovering who you are and what type of mum and what type of woman you want to be. So, yeah, it's a beautiful 40 days. I know you feel about the women in your course, that they're just the most beautiful group of women, and I feel the same about the women who do mine. It's this amazing soul sisters that come together to really support each other to be happier.
Yeah, that's lovely. That is lovely. Where can people find you?
happymama.com.au, and mama is MAMA.
Okay, we will pop a link below as well so people can
go
straight through to your website and Facebook page.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate you being here today. I think that everybody will get so much out of this interview, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, what you're doing is amazing, helping so many mums. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Well, you take care, and as I said, we'll pop a link below where people can find you, and thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And if you go to my website, you can get a free meditation, which might help just start this whole process. It's one you do before bed, so you don't have to find those 3 minutes during the day, and you can just help to actually unwind and switch that brain off and feel good about yourself again.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you very much.
No worries.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.